Okay, this is a walkthrough for Hillary Duff GTA on the NeoSeeker forums. Doing this walkthrough of the Paramedic missions in GTA 3, which oddly enough some people are still having trouble. Okay, so we start the mission by the hospital. We press R3, obviously, and one of the things you got to do in this game, in this mission, is you want to keep the ambulance in as pristine condition as you possibly can because it's 12 long levels. Alright, get acquainted with the shortcuts like I just took through the grass in Trenton. Another very, very important tip with the patients is see how far away I parked from that patient? I did it for a reason. I was close enough to activate the sequence of him running to the ambulance, but not close enough that if he runs into my ambulance while moving, he'll die. It's a very strange. See, notice I went into that shortcut again. Anyway, you'll notice very quickly you'll fail the mission 100 times if you park too close to the patient or you're moving and they, even if it's their fault and they run into the ambulance, you'll fail. Okay, now we're on level 2. Obviously 1 through 4 are pretty easy. And I'm gonna go get the one Eastern St. Mark's first. Again, notice how far away I parked from the patient, and I'm not moving when he runs into the ambulance. It's okay if he runs into the ambulance and you're not moving, it's fine. But if you are moving when he runs in the ambulance, the game will kill the patient most likely and will fail. And you notice I'm driving a little bit on the slow side because the ambulance has this nasty tendency to want to turn over. Okay, we're heading back to the hospital now from north to south, and I'm going in the back, the alternate way into the hospital, just so that I don't have to go around this side. Okay, now we're going to level 3, and notice that the game just cheated me big time in time. It started me with 34 seconds. Okay, so in that instance, I'm going to get the closest patient to add time to my clock. Again, notice I stopped very quickly so she can get in. The game is really cheating. It's only giving me 18 seconds per patient. This is going to be a very, very tight one to pass, but I think I'll have a problem. Okay, I'm going up through St. Mark's and around through the port view by the docks. The patient's going to be by the Super C. And notice how my time is going low. This game is really cheating. Okay, so 11 seconds and back. Another 18 seconds. One thing that's very interesting that you'll find is that whenever the game gives you time, you'll always know exactly how much time you're going to get for each pickup and each drop-off by the first time you get. So I know, for instance, that I'm only going to get 18 seconds each time. See, this patient, now I know that I'm only going to get 18 seconds here. And this was, just so you know, a randomly very cheap level 3. I mean, there's no reason why the game should have given me that little time. I mean, I drove this level perfectly, and I still had trouble with the clock counting down, and now it's starting to count down again. So that's, when you get a level like that, make sure you go to the closest patient. Always look at your time. Alright, so that insane level 3 was out of the way, and that is about as hard a level as you're going to get, even though it's only level 3. Notice I'm going through the grass, and I'm going slowly. So see all these hills? If you go too fast, you're going to end up turning your ambulance over. Again, I'm parking very enough further away so that the patient's not running into the ambulance while it's moving. Back through this little shortcut by Joe's garage. Joey's garage, I should say. And notice how I'm yielding to traffic. Or at least trying to. As long as right now, this level gave me plenty of time. It gave me, I think it was about a minute. And each patient is giving me a decent amount of time added to the clock, so I'm not in any rush. Okay, 27 seconds, that's not bad enough. Now notice I grouped the patient. In that instance, normally I would go for the 3 patients first, but since I had plenty of time, I noticed I have level 4, so I grouped the patients into groups of 3 and 1. You could also do 2 and 2 if they're on that. But I knew that the 3 patients were going to be in, I looked at the dots that appear at the beginning of the level, and I noticed that 3 patients were all in kind of the St. Mark's and Harwood area, and 1 was in Trenton. So in this case, since I had plenty of time starting the clock, I went for the 1 patient, Trenton first, knowing I'd get time added first drop or first pickup. Now I'm going to purposely go the wrong way here to show you something. I'm going through the park. I should have actually made the right. You notice how I'm driving very, very carefully and only I'm tapping the ambulance here and there on structures, but I'm not hitting it hard enough to do major damage. Also, remember that every time you hit the amp, say I went around the long way to show you that you can get this patient, but the next time I have to come this way, I'm going to show you another way to get up here. And that's the reverse of this. Now this is very important. Don't accelerate down here. I'm actually letting gravity take you down there. If you actually drive down that embankment, you have a good chance of turning around. So be very careful on that embankment, up and down. Now I'm going through the most western street and through this divider and the broken road. Notice how I swerve through it like an S. Get used to doing that because that's going to be a very good road to take to the hospital all the time when you're short on time. Again, notice I'm yielding to all this traffic, and I'm even trying not to hit pedestrians because that sort of does minimal damage. You'll notice I haven't gotten into any collisions yet on this, and I'm in level 5, and the back door of my ambulance is still a little beaten up. So now in this instance, I'm going to go, I'm at level 5, so I'm grouping them into groups of 3 and 2. Remember, obviously, the ambulance can only hold 3 patients at a time. So I'm going to go for 3 patients on this one, because they're all relatively close together. And then I'll group it into both. And again, notice how the bumpy roads, notice how the bumpy roads, I went very slow over them. Why? Again, because your ambulance will want to turn over. By the way, I don't know if I said it in this walkthrough, you probably know it already, but I'm going to go down this embankment again. Now, I'm not going to accelerate. I'm actually stopping. I'm letting the gravity take me. And I'm, again, parking very far away from the patient. And what I was saying before is that you'll notice that whenever you get into any kind of a collision, even a relatively minor one, if you have patients in there, the patients cough and wheeze, and it takes time off your clock. It gives you a little, like a couple of seconds of a time. So if you have to crash, try not to crash when you have patients in the ambulance, but you'll lose them. In this, I'm not worried about it. We got so much time on the clock. We got 52 seconds, we have 20 seconds, we're just lavishing. And here's another shortcut I'm going to show you. Very slowly. I'm going to actually, through this whole paramedic mission, I'm going to go very slow here. I usually drive quicker, but you notice how I'm barely accelerating through here because you'll have a tendency to those bumps on that field will turn the ambulance over. You can go a lot faster than I am, but I wouldn't. I'm going to actually go through the long way through trying to because I kind of know where this patient is. Again, I got 1 minute and 12 seconds, so I'm driving relatively carefully, pretty slow, just trying to get the machine. This one's in Chinatown, by the way. You could have also taken that shortcut through the grass and Trent, but I just drove it this way. And by the way, just because this is for Hillary Duff on GTA on NeoSeeker, anybody else that obviously can benefit by this, I think I'll help you. Alright, so I got plenty of time. I got over a minute to get back to the hospital. There's no reason to rush, no reason to crash into anything. Always try to keep an eye, or at least one eye on your clock without compromising your driving skills. This mission, well, it's a pretty dull moment, but this mission is all about your driving skills. And you want to err. Okay, so now we're going to level 6. So as I was saying, you want to err on the side of driving carefully. In this instance, the patients are kind of spread out. I'm still going to try and do them in groups of 3. Why? Because it's level 6. 3 and 3 is 6. Alright? Another duh moment for you. There we go. So we've got this guy. And again, whenever you go into St. Mark's, try and make the right to go east onto St. Mark's, because you'll notice a lot of times the patients are on this curved road by Salvatore's mansion. And you can just get them, kind of bang them out one after the other. In this instance, I'm going to go for the one that's down by the park. It's a little further, because I got 1 minute and 11 seconds. Now watch here. This time I'm going to go up the embankment to show you that you could go up this way. Alright, this is the opposite way of going around the park. This is quicker. But notice how slow, barely accelerating up there. Why? Because otherwise your ambulance will turn. See, even there, just turning that corner, the ambulance was kind of rocking like it wanted to turn. Okay, now there's a lot of traffic on this road, so instead of going up here, I'm going to go through the park. It's kind of circuitous, but whatever. through the park, and I'm going to take this road up there because there's usually less traffic on the eastern end of that fucking head. Make the left here, go, obviously you go through the shortcut. Now sometimes I like to go through that alley shortcut, but in this case I'm not going to. I'll show you that later. And again, I'm going the back way, or the reverse way into the hospital. Okay, now we got plenty of time. We got 1 minute and 12 on the clock. And remember, time is going to keep getting added. Now notice I turned the ambulance before she got there, interestingly enough. And the reason is because I wanted to be heading back the right way just to save time, to show you how to save time. And notice I'm trying my best to give right of way and yield to the traffic. Not because I'm such a good driver or because I give a rat's ass what the AI thinks of me, but obviously because it keeps the ambulance in perfect condition. I mean, I haven't gotten into one collision yet, and I'm at level 6. The reason my doors are all twisted up is only because some taxi crashed into me early. But other than hitting a couple of poles and breakable environments, I'm pretty much keeping this ambulance in pristine condition. Alright, minute 35 seconds, again, plenty of time to get back on. And this time I'm staying to the west of the park. Why? Because there was no traffic up here. It's easy. And again, keep in mind, it's easy to crash on that series of uphills that I just went, which looks like an uphill stairs. Alright, continuing here. Now this time I'm going to go through the alleyway with the wanted, or the police brought, I should say. Why? Because now it'll make it easier to get into the hospital this way, which is the normal way you can go. 6 of one, 2 half dozen of the other. Go whichever way is easiest for you.